Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's first full student body webinar. This is a large collection of, well, not quite as large as it might be, but it's a nice collection of members of the student body and members of the faculty. And what we hope to do is to take questions from the members of the student group. This will lead perhaps to some discussion. I'm not going to unmute everybody at the same time because this leads to sometimes problems with computers, technical things that we don't want to get into right at this moment. But we have the members of the staff standing by in case I miss your hand that you have raised, and I'll call upon you. And if you have questions, I will do my best to respond to them, and any member of the faculty who wishes to participate in that way can also do the same. Obviously, we're all students, and we don't know everything, do we? So it will be our attempt to give you our impressions of what we, how we respond to your questions. This is the first type of webinar. It is a general type and may occur, let's say, about one time a month. Everybody is invited. Everybody can participate, regardless of what level of the school you may be involved in. We will also soon start what we call the level targeted webinars, or LTWs, where all the students who are gathered into one particular year of study will have a webinar on their responses to the various classes that they particularly are taking. So we'll have a few of those going, hopefully before too long. And then we have something that we call the special subjects webinars. Members of the faculty will be offering webinars on areas of their interest and probably areas of yours as well. So they will be perhaps a little bit more didactic with a little bit of interaction going on at the end. Now, today our webinar is very interactive in a way. It would be maximally interactive if I could unmute everybody and we could all see each other, we could all talk, and we could all find out when we are raising our hand and so forth. But that's a little bit much technically. So at the moment, what we'll do is when you raise your hand, I will call on you. If I miss you, a member of the staff will remind me that you have your hand raised, and maybe we can get the flow going in that way. Before we begin, I'm going to mute everybody except myself, really, just for a little while. Or actually, I see that the the members of the staff have muted themselves. That's fine. We're going to do the great invocation together, followed by 3 ohms. This is the great mantra of power and light, and our best instrument in preparing for the reappearance of the Christ, we have been told. So we will set the tone with the great invocation, and please, although you won't be heard, and that's probably a mercy, because if you've ever heard 30 people trying to do the great invocation over over a webinar, it is a little bit distracting. So where you are and in your own place, you do the invocation with me. We'll sound the Om, and then we will proceed. Okay. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, everyone. And that Om was sounded on the note G, which is one of the second ray notes, depending on where you begin the scale. But as you may know, our solar system, our present solar system tells us, Master DK tells us, is attuned to the note G, and it is predominantly a second ray solar system. So that's one of the notes that we can use, although sometimes he talks about G being related to the seventh ray, but that depends on where you begin the scale. Now, I'd like to just kind of welcome you, if I can get close enough to the screen to see your names here. Ahini, you're here. Annabelle, BL, a member of the faculty. Daniel Coro in Australia. Francis Donald, a member of the faculty. Fred Van Ackern, helping so much with the new PIP test, Tara test. Into here in the Baltic countries, Jocelyn Traub, member of the faculty. Keith Gorley, welcome. Luka Kovacs from Slovenia, doing with his mother a lot of translating of the Bailey books into Slovenian. Marilena Dos Santos, okay, welcome. Natasha, Luca's mother, welcome, Natasha. Paul Rodriguez, welcome. Peg Rosenkrantz, welcome. Risa D'Angelis, member of the faculty. Rose, welcome. Sam Sheldon, member of the faculty. Sheila Hogue, welcome. Sheldon Hughes, faculty member. Terry Chivers, faculty member. Teresa Pluth, seems to be offline, but if not, welcome. And Tiago, welcome. Victor Carrington, Victor Dutro, welcome both. And Walter Pullen, in between the faculty and the student body. Also here on our staff, Eva Smith, faculty, Joe Waltz, faculty, Kay Hannon, administration and faculty, and myself. So I guess there's about almost 30 of us, something like that. And I think what I'll do now is maybe I'll just say a couple of things. We are a school that is intending to help people prepare for the establishment on our planet of the preparatory schools of meditation, which DK talks about in Letters on Occult Meditation. There will be 14 preparatory schools, 14 advanced schools. maybe one day before so very long, these preparatory schools will appear, and certainly when the great Lord begins his more external appearance, they will be established. Well, meanwhile, in the Morya Federation of Esoteric Schools, we are intending to prepare for that time. And we call it the Morya Federation. Of course, it's, you know, we're a school. It's on the second ray, but Master Morya, as you may know, is the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. So in a way, that great triangle of Master Morya, Master KH, and Master DK stands behind this kind of work. So the different schools and the attempts at creating these schools as they appear on the different parts of the globe, they are welcome to join with us in this federation of those who are working towards the preparatory schools and in a way are kind of preparatory schools themselves. We have, well, really by now a 7-year curriculum. Some of you have joined the Great Quest program, which is a 2-year program, and others of you are in the Quest Universal. You put that all together, we have 7 years of work, and I guess I'd be very surprised if many people finish it in 7 years. You know, the Arcane School, it takes a long time to move through, but we're trying to move through more as a group. Now, one of the reasons that we're having this kind of get-together, these webinars now, and really it's about time, it should have happened earlier really, is so that we can get a sense of each other within the group, and so that as we move together as group members, we have that sense of soul community on each one of the levels that we are working in the school, and also as a student body as a whole. The sense of all being together in one group, students and faculty, all one group really, so that we can begin to function under the law of group progress, which, as you may know, is the 5th law of the soul, coming in under the 7th ray and under the sign of Capricorn. So in order to enhance our group dynamics, that's why we're starting to have these webinars where we can meet each other more in person. Okay, well, maybe I've said enough now, and we can start to look for your comments or questions at this point. Just raise your hand if you want to jump off the cliff. It's quite okay with me. Who would like to ask something? Let's see. Meanwhile, I can...
Before you start, Michael.
Yes, Kay.
Helena is also...
Helena is also there too.
With, along with...
Okay,
yeah,
with Sheldon.
Yes,
okay,
Sheldon.
Because I missed that because I was just... Yeah, okay, very good. Good. Hi, welcome, Helena. Welcome. Okay, another person appeared and I just didn't see the list. Okay, now, so this is for the students. This is for you who are students. Of course, we're all students, really, aren't we? But the faculty have their own webinars, so I'm not going to ask them to ask questions. They do plenty of that when we are all talking together as faculty members. So meanwhile, who would like to jump in? Anybody with something to say and or something to ask? This calls for courage. Because if you don't ask something, you know, I'll just keep talking, and that would be a terrible thing. Okay, anybody? Anybody?
Michael, would you suggest that the students raise their hands?
Yes, I did. I did suggest that earlier. Yes, if you raise your, you know, Joe, where is the raising of the hand? There it is right there. Is that it? Where my cursor is? Okay, yes. You probably can't see it. But where the cursor is,
it's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in. Yeah, there's a little hand up on the menu. Do you see that? That hand.
They have a little bar at least with a little arrow and a little green or actually a gray microphone, and should have a little hand on that little gray bar.
Yeah. Okay. So if you raise your hand, I will put you unmute you, and then you can just ask your question. Okay, anyone? Where is the moon today? In Taurus or something? Nobody's being especially courageous. You know, I can answer a bit of a question. Ah, there we go. Okay, I see a hand. Okay, it's Paul. And Paul, you are off mute. You're on, Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hi, hello.
Hello, Paul, and welcome. Yes.
Thank you. I hope all can understand my question.
I hope so too. Okay.
I wanted to ask, how can working in the Morya Federation, can we integrate in the same time the work of purifying our vehicles? And how can we do that? I mean, what will be?
Well, I think, Paul, that some of the very first work we do is in the light of the soul, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and in that are the commandments and the means of yoga, the 8 means of yoga, and embodied in that is the whole idea of purification. The idea of harmlessness is running all the way through there. And the kinds of meditations that we're offering, which give us a growing sense of soul infusion, will automatically raise into our consciousness an awareness of those areas of our life which need attention. We're also studying in the beginning aspects of esoteric psychology, where one undergoes a very thorough examination of the condition of the various vehicles and what has to be done to make them less opaque so that the power of the soul can come through. And the power of the soul itself through occult meditation is necessarily purifying. So, you know, in a way, nobody can escape this purificatory downflow from the soul, and that's what often makes studies in occultism a little bit difficult at first, because one's whole life begins to come up. You know, if we were able to look at your horoscope, which of course we can, and will be done, you know, in some of the first, in the Quest, Great Quest, and also in the first year of the Quest Universal, we would probably see factors within it which have led you into the school and which are demanding purification. So you don't have to worry. The very study that we're doing is purificatory in nature. And I would just encourage looking at the light of the soul for the commandments and the various abstentions that one has to go through. They are purificatory. I hope that somewhat answers your question.
There is another question that's written in the questions box by Ani.
Okay, Jocelyn had her hand up by mistake. Has taken it down now. Okay. Oh, by Ani. Okay, Ani. Let me unmute you. Okay, wait a second. Annie, you don't have a headphone, do you? Probably not. Probably. Well, so what is the question in the question box, Joe? Can you read it? Is it there?
What is the significance of atomic matter in the body that's mentioned in Initiation, Human, and Solar?
Okay, it's getting quite technical. Well, one very interesting, I'll tell you what, Annie, I better mute you here because we're getting a lot of echo, but you'll be able to hear what I say, and that's why you wrote it down. Now, if any faculty member or something wants to add to it, just let me know. Just give me a and we'll pick up with you. The various vehicles of the personality are made of different grades of substance. So until there is a relative degree of elevation in the initiatory status of the individual, generally lower forms of substance are composing the vehicle, and these lower forms of substance are naturally less sensitive. But as we the DK gives us this. He says that at the first initiation, 25% of the vehicles are composed of atoms of atomic matter. That means the higher types of atoms, the very highest type. By the second initiation, 50%. By the third initiation, 75%. And by the fourth initiation, 100% atomic matter. Of course, it's kind of interesting because one may not stay in incarnation to live through that fourth initiation. It has a very abstractive effect. So by the atomic matter is peculiarly responsive to the will of God. Now, in our initiation process, as we rise higher and higher, we are ever more responsive to the divine plan, which is conceived on the atmic plane, and that divine plan is an aspect of the purpose and ultimately is responsive to the, well, let's see if I have something here, to the very highest plane or the logoic plane. So if we can look, I trust that I'm showing the screen here properly. If we can look at the idea of atomic matter here, all etheric head centers are on the plane of atomic matter, the very first plane, and they create a special channel of descent all the way from the inspiration of the sea of fire or logoic plane. So the purpose here for atomic matter is to make us more and more responsive to the will of God. Now at the planetary logos. And at the fourth initiation, we are very responsive to this first ray. This fourth initiation has a lot of fourth ray in it, but it's also very, very destructive of our relationship to form, both causal body form and personality form. So the destroyer ray comes in, the monad is very active, and the atomic matter that's in our vehicles by that time makes it possible for that kind of transmission to occur. Now, for the rest of it, we just ought to read Cosmic Fire for the next 10 years, and it will get more out of it. Okay, Ani, that's my response to your question. Do you have anything to say there, Ani? Oh, okay, we'll do it that way. We'll do it by typing. And Joe and Kay, if you can let me know what the typing is, because I don't see it here.
Okay. We have another question that's typed.
Yes, yes.
Marilene dos Santos.
Marilene dos Santos. Okay, it's typed. What is the question from Marielena?
Is there any correlation between the 3 signs, moon, sun, ascendant, with the 5 human vehicles, physical, emotional, mental, personality, and soul? And then there's a second part.
Okay.
Do any of the signs have any special influence on any of the 5 of the human vehicles? How do they interact?
Oh, that's a long...
Well, you could take that and then there are a few more.
Okay, I can't get into all of it. But here's the thing. The rays have a particular target in the vehicles. Your ray chart gives you 5 or maybe 6 numbers which are particularly targeted to the various aspects of your energy system. Now, what I have discovered is that the astrological factors are more pervasive. They, depending on their sign, of course, they might relate to a particular vehicle. Like, if it's, let us say if it's Leo, it might have a lot to do with the personality vehicle or with the causal body, if your ascending sign is that. Or if it's Cancer, the lunar vehicles are more involved. But generally speaking, the astrological factors are pervasive throughout the energy system. The moon, however, is interesting because it relates to all 4 aspects of the personality, i.e. the etheric physical, the astral, and the lower mental, as well as the personality as a whole. And you can say this about Mars. So it's not so much, let us say, the signs that are particularly related to the vehicles, but you can find a way that they are, of course, but the planets particularly. Now let's say that if we look at the planets, Mercury is related to the lower mind, to the son of mind, to the abstract mind, and that the transcendental mind is related to 4 or 5 aspects of mind. Venus is related to the lower and higher mind, and under certain conditions can condition the regenerated astral body. Jupiter is related to the causal body and to its general expansion and also to higher mind. Saturn is related to the dense physical vehicle, also to the lower concrete mind, as well as to the higher mind and to the atmic vehicle. Neptune is definitely related to the astral body, but also to the buddhic body and to the monadic vehicle as well. And thus it goes. The planets have individual targets within the energy system. The rising sign is more pervasive, and of course it tries to engineer the responses of all of the vehicles so that they serve the goal of the soul in that particular incarnation. But it's not specifically targeted with the lower vehicles. The sun sign, yes, for the personality as a whole. So when you have a personality ray and your sun sign, the sun is almost like a sub-ray of the personality. But in a way, the sun is utterly pervasive through every chakra, through every jewel in every chakra, and all throughout the cosmic physical plane. So, it's a big question, and I think that's all that I can deal with on that particular one. I haven't got time really, maybe later perhaps, to go through 4 or 5 subsets of the question. So now I'll tell you what, I can unmute you, however, Morya Elena, and is there anything further, just brief, that you would like me to add? You are unmuted. Hello? Okay, maybe you're on mute yourself. So if you're muted yourself, I can't do anything about it. Anyway, that's my attempt to answer at least part of that question. Okay.
Rose has her hand up.
Who else?
Rose.
Okay,
Rose has her hand up.
I've got it. Okay. Rose, I just know it's going to be on the 7 spirits before the throne. Well, maybe not, but here are the 7 spirits before you. What is the question? Wait a second. Okay, you are unmuted. Go ahead,
Okay.
Rose. Go ahead, Rose. Yes.
Is my sound coming through okay?
Yes, you're pretty good. You go ahead.
Okay, good. Well, actually, I have more than one question, maybe about 3 or 4, but...
We'll do one at a time, and then we'll see who else, and we'll come back to them. So what's your first and most pressing question?
Can you explain a little bit of the difference between plan, purpose, and will? From my understanding, it's
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about that. Okay, and even in one of the meditations, meditation number 4 by DK in Dina 2, he has us discriminate between purpose, will, and intention. That's the same kind of discrimination. I think you have some people in the background there, possibly?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it's a little okay. I'll try to give you my best shot at this. The plan is the reflection of the purpose, and it is conceived on the atmic plane by the hierarchy itself. These are custodians of the plan. The purpose is generally emanating not from the atmic plane, which is the plane of spiritual will, which is the power to carry the purpose forth into manifestation via the plan. See, will is power. It's directional power to achieve a certain pattern of thought in the divine mind. The pattern of thought in the divine mind is the purpose. It is monadic and logoic in nature, and it has to do with the world of being particularly. So this world of being, which is the intended thought in the mind of God, these are the great archetypes on the monadic plane, they are intended to be realized in time and space, because Saturn, of course, rules the atmic plane, is the lord of time, and these are intended to be realized in the 5 lower planes, by the plan itself. But the plan is the adaptation of purpose to time and space, and the will is the power of the logos or whatever other agency of the logos to carry the purpose into manifestation via that aspect of the plan which is timed for the particular moment in history or of the Earth's development. Those three, that's the way I think of discriminating those things. I've also thought, Rose.
So it's kind of.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It goes in the order of more of like a abstraction will than purpose than plan. Plan is just one aspect.
Plan is the third aspect.
Purpose.
Plan is the third aspect of it, in a way. Now, I part company with some of my friends when I say that purpose, which is the pattern in the mind of God, relates to the second aspect. And will, which is always secondary in our particular second-ray solar system, is the first-ray power to carry that pattern into manifestation via the plan. So just like a Masonic lodge is set up, the highest chair is usually considered the second ray. Purpose is the second ray in this particular case. Will is the first ray, and plan is the third ray. Maybe in the next solar system it will all reverse itself. Okay, Rose, we'll come back to any other questions you have, but I'm just going to go one at a time because there are quite a few of us, and then if we run out of questions, we'll come back. So Joe and Kay, if you would kindly keep record of people who have more than one question. If we need to come back, we will do that. Are there any members of the faculty who would like to say anything about that at this time? Okay, I've left some of you out of the staff so I can see your hands raised. Okay, I do see a hand somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is there. Okay, well, let's just go on. Okay, Fred, you have a question.
Fred, yeah.
I've got him. Yep. For 1 minute I was faster than you, Joe, but usually not. Okay. Go ahead, Fred. Are you there? Oh, of course you can't go ahead because I've not unmuted you. Forgive me.
I just unmuted him.
Okay. Very good. Fred, you go ahead.
Good afternoon, Michael. Good
Hi,
to see
Fred.
you again,
Okay.
even though you can't see me.
I can't see you, but I hear from you, that's for sure. Fred is doing a lot of work to help us in getting things together for the new ray test. So maybe one day you'll all take that. It'll only take you about 2 or 3 weeks. You'll enjoy it. Okay. Fred, you go ahead.
I have several questions. First of all, I'll divide them into esoteric and exoteric questions. The exoteric, I think I can just email my instructors and have them do that online, and that would leave time for the more important things. In my quest for analysis of myself, I was wondering what the significance of a sign that appears numerous times in the chart. For example, I have an Aquarius rising and sun sign, and Aquarius shows up in Mercury, shows up in Mars, and there may be one other. However, I've never seen anything in writing. I haven't come across it yet, I should say, where this is discussed and delineated in order to help a person understand proclivities and tendencies and things like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fred, I've done some things on the Makara website of the planets and the different signs. So, and they are fairly esoteric interpretations, so there's a fair number of them there. I could direct you there. But here's what I will say. Obviously, the soul is seeking a certain type of emphasis. Now, what we have to understand, that if the soul, or the solar angel, let us say, is going to choose the rising sign, the sun sign, and the moon sign, there's only about It's about 2 to 4 hours a year when the person can be born. If the soul just concentrates on those things alone, there's only a very small window where the soul will have complete control over the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign. And then when you start adding, if they want to throw in Jupiter, then you get those 2 to 4 hours every 12 years, and on it goes. Basically, the soul will, however, if you have a sun sign and rising sign the same, the soul is saying something about the particular need of your causal body, of you as an evolving unit on the higher mental plane, to have these particular energies built in. And what I would say is that we can interpret the same sign at different levels. So when it comes to the rising sign, we would take the higher level of Aquarius and we would emphasize the group consciousness, the universal love, the development of that great fusion of mind and soul together. We would interpret the higher types of responses. But when it comes to Aquarius and your personality, there may have also been factors that are of much more personal nature, that have to do with an excited nervous system, dispersion of energy, the need for centralization rather than decentralization, because the energies might go all over. So and when it comes to the moon, of course, we would interpret them more in terms of the lunar vehicles and even the responses of the etheric body. So here's what I would say. The soul is trying to say something. It's trying to tell you you need this energy, but you have to interpret the levels at which the energy appears in different ways. I've seen some triple people, triple Leo, triple Virgo, whatever. They say, what do I do with this? I just say, interpret the energy at the level that it shows up, and always let the rising sign be the key thing to control everything else. Okay, Fred, if you have one more, because I've said to people that I'm not going to go through a lot. If you have many, many questions, you'll have to wait until later that other people have had a chance. You have one more question.
No, that's fine, Michael. That answered my question, actually, because it confirms what I've been doing already, and that is taking the Aquarius at the different levels of soul personality.
Exactly.
And kind of go through that through the
See, here's the thing, at the rising sign level, if you're really functioning at that level, it's the great sign of service, and the love gets in there, and you're serving others in a selfless manner. But remember what it says: let desire in form be ruler. So I've seen lots of selfish Aquarians. I could name names. I don't want to get into that, but you'll see some really fanatical, political idealists with a very selfish ideology that are born with the sun in Aquarius. So, and look, even the Nazi Party won its place in the Reichstag on January 30th, 1933. What is it? The Nazis were an Aquarian organization. So universal death can come about as well as universal life. One has to interpret it on the right level. Okay, Fred, we'll come back to you if we have time. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you, Fred. Who else?
Michael, Nolene Hart was asking a similar question about the sun. Nolene Hart asking a similar question about the sun and rising in the same sign. I think you pretty much did answer her, but just check.
Well, okay, Nolene, we've got you. Whoa. Hey, friends, I'll tell you what. When we do these webinars, do your best to get a headset like this. They don't cost much, maybe $20 or something like that, and then we won't have any echo. I have to tell the faculty members all the time. But anyway, Nolene, you go ahead. What is any further thought there? Okay, it's the meteor.
Michael, her question was, what if any?
Okay, I'm going to mute her. Now go ahead, Joe. What was the question?
What, if any, is the significance of the ascendant and sun being in the same sign, in this case Sagittarius?
Okay, well, okay. Sagittarius represents the intuition, the higher mind, even the monadic vision, the vision of initiation and of the heights. So Sagittarius is extremely expansive sign in terms of perspective, and always the perspective will have to be expanded when Sagittarius is the rising sign. But when it is the sun sign, you simply have to learn as a person to integrate your personal energies, because it's a major sign of integration. Just go into the astrology book. You'll see how all the energies line up in Sagittarius, and you direct your personal energies towards the fulfillment of that which the rising sign reveals. So you get those two in alignment. And I'll just say to everybody, if you've ever got your sun and rising sign together, that's a great alignment position. And if in your progressed horoscope there comes a time when the sun sign and the rising sign come together at a certain point in your life, because they don't necessarily move at the same speed, that's a great opportunity to bring your soul objectives and your personality objectives together. Now, I'll also say this, that the way you should look at your four major energies is this way. Your soul ray plus your rising sign, that's the transpersonal dimension, and then your personality ray and your sun sign. If you look at those four factors together, you will get your major integrative task. And of course, we could go on with all the signs and talk about how the personality and rising sign indications are different and how they have to be coordinated. Okay, Noeline, I hope that did it for you a little bit here. I don't expect to answer everything, but just to give the direction of the thought. Okay, who else? Any faculty member want to speak here on any points that we have raised? Of course, when we do these level targeted webinars, the faculty that's going to be in charge of those courses will be much more front and center. This is just an experiment today to, see what you have on your mind and help us, in group form, get a sense of the community pool of thought. But you can see already why I did not unmute everybody, because we have not solved the problems of echo and headphones and all that, so we get a tremendous cacophony, and we just have to do it one at a time. Okay, who else? Anybody else? Be brave. Okay, here's a hand. Walter. Yes, go ahead, Walter. Hello, Walter. Are you? Oh, wait a second. I can't just. What am I doing? I'm sorry. I got rid of your hand and I didn't unmute you. So sorry. Go ahead, Walter.
Hello. My question is, how does the Morya Federation differ from the Arcane School, which is, of course, mentioned in many of the blue books, where I actually understand that some of us here have been students or even faculty in the Arcane School, at least in the past.
We have been.
So, is the Arcane School still active today, and is there any interrelation between our two groups at this time?
Well, of course, we have the same objectives, and also the School for Esoteric Studies, in where is it? In North Carolina. I forget the name of the city. It's a nice city. All these esoteric schools working with the Tibetan's material have the same objectives: to produce the true disciple and to make possible the soul-infused personality and a real server of the race. I was with the Arcane School myself for 15 years, and I worked at the headquarters for 5 years. And I would just say the emphasis is a little different. Let's just say that in the Morya Federation, I think we're much more, in a way, in the moment, and we're using electronics quite a bit. And now with these webinars, we're pretty much in each other's presence. We will be. We also study astrology quite a bit. We've added esoteric healing as well. And I would say, although it's a bit ambitious, that our approach to the teaching is quite comprehensive, and I think is including a number of factors which the Arcane School did not choose to emphasize. Of course, their program is very, very good. Alice Bailey conceived it, and DK approved it, so you know it's going to be very good. But we're also, I think we're expanding on some subjects that they did not incorporate into their program. And I would say maybe this business of having tiers of students who move together and may be able to dialogue with each other and all that, which is now what is coming, perhaps that's a little different. But, you know, I haven't been at the Arcane School now for almost, I don't know, 30 years or 28 years, so I'm not sure all that they're doing. I just endorse their work. I know it's valuable. I know it's important. And I would just say that the third aspect of the second ray is perhaps a little more emphasized in the Morya Federation. Any faculty members have a response to that? Anybody that's been connected with the Arcane School? You know, generally it's not so wise to talk about other groups and so forth, but this is what I perceive. Sam, maybe you have something to say here. Go ahead, please, Sam.
Well, and just kind of in general here, having been in the Arcane School myself, and then been working with the Morya Federation, you know, and building curriculum and stuff. Take, for instance, the rules for applicants and disciples and initiates. That's treated very late in the Arcane School, like after Weavers in the Light. Whereas here in the Morya Federation, we tend to get to it a little, well, quite a bit sooner, I would say. If you're moving along in the tiers, you know, you're going to start into it. I think it's either in the third and fourth tier.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, you know, maybe they have a feeling.
That's a lot sooner.
That is sooner. And I think, you know, we have a tremendous emphasis on the rays. We do a lot of rays and esoteric. I think our whole approach to esoteric psychology is quite emphasized, and that I felt was more so than in the Arcane School. But look, you know, nobody can do everything, so we do what we do, they do what they do, the School for Esoteric Studies does what it does, and all together, hopefully, we cover the ballpark. Maybe that's possible. Yes, maybe that's possible.
Yeah, one insightful diagram or reference is in DINA 2, page 88, that lists how the various schools can interact as a branch of the new group of world servers and then do various service activities.
Here it is. Here it is. You should see that. There it is. So, you know, where the Arcane School is, other groups of our nature are there too. The service activities, we all have them, Triangles, Goodwill, and of course, we're largely an educational group in a way. The fourth seed group is our concentration, and we're trying to teach people the aspects of the ageless wisdom that will allow them to go out and teach it to others. So I think we fit here. You know, we don't fit here exactly, but this is something that is kind of a generic structure. Obviously, if the Arcane School is successful, it's going to have very many spin-offs out there in the world, and we are inspired by what they've done, and I have nothing but support for them. Hey, there's the train. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Michael, Risa had a couple of comments on Walter's question, and then Paul had another question.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a note that Paul had the question, and I'm going to, you know, make sure that everybody who wants to say something has had a chance, and then we'll come back to it. So let's see, where is Risa? Could you unmute her for a minute? Here she is. Got her. Okay, Risa, you have a thought. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Risa. Did you have a response to Walter's question? Okay, maybe. Okay, maybe.
Was that each one of the esoteric schools are polishing the diamond of their responsibility of teaching the esoteric.
Okay, very beautiful thought, and that's good. That's very good. Yeah, I mean, look, there's no competition here. We're all, there's not many of us here. Think of that. There's not many of us who are really getting into this field. So we all have to support each other, and also I'll include with that the Masonic School and my brother Keith Bailey. He does wonderful work there, teaching people, well, let's just say Masonry is along the first ray line. The new world religion along the second ray line, and the banded esoteric organisms, as it is called, they are perhaps monadically along the third ray line. So we have the first ray organism of Masonry, the second ray organism of the new church and the new world religion, and the third ray organism that's called the banded esoteric organisms. And we're all doing our best because, look, H.P. Blavatsky tells us that occultism must win the day by the end of the 21st century. So only 90 years to go here, and we have a lot of work to do. Okay, other questions? Who has not, people who have not yet asked a question? Otherwise, we'll go back to those who have more. Anybody?
Victor Dutro is asking a question. He wrote his. I don't know if he can speak or not.
Yes, let's give it a try. Okay, well, tell me Victor's question, and then Victor can answer if anything further. You go ahead. Kay, what is the question?
He says, I don't know anything about astrology. What books could help me get the fundamentals? I have Alan Oken's Soul-Centered Astrology, but I think just basic stuff like charting houses and basic stuff. Do you recommend learning the exoteric astrology, then bring in the esoteric, or do them both together, or just esoteric?
Okay, it's a good question. It's a good question. Look, I learned the exoteric astrology first and had so much to unlearn. So Alan's book is very good, and he's certain to deal with certain of the fundamentals there. You don't have to set up a chart mathematically yourself. You can use any of the good astrology programs, and I would recommend Solar Fire, which also has its own interpretations included. So, it's been a long time since I've been in the books of exoteric astrology. I will say this, get into the Tibetan's book and try to learn it from that point of view, because I think you will save yourself years of unlearning, and your mind will be expanded quickly so that you can include the exoteric astrology when you run into it. Now, I've always found the books of Charles Carter, it's an old theosophical approach, very good. The books of Jeff Mayo, very good. But, there are just hundreds of people who are writing on exoteric astrology. Also, I tell you what, you can also go to the Makara website. We have a lot of stuff on chart interpretation there. We have a lot of planets and signs and so forth. I've written on that subject. You can pick things up there. I can't give you the name of one exoteric astrology book particularly. I cannot do that. I've been out of that field too long. But I can answer your question in this way. I would not at this time try to learn exoteric astrology first at the exclusion of esoteric astrology. Minimally learn them together. And also, I think in our Great Quest program, Leonie Hodgson, who runs that, is an excellent astrologer. We have a number of excellent astrologers here. So I think right within the material itself is everything that you will need to get started in that particular way. And then, if you can, buy the Solar Fire program, and you can start with charts right there. Are there any of our astrologers who are members of the faculty who have something? Yes, Francis, please.
Michael,
yes?
I'd like to say something too.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Okay, now there's several
Very
of you.
quick comment.
Wow, about three all at once. Astrology drew them in. Yes, Francis, you go ahead. Then Eva, then BL.
Yeah,
go
very
ahead.
quick comment.
Yes.
Which is just that Alan's works are really based on Dual Kul. His more esoteric understanding is is based on the book Esoteric Astrology by the Tibetan. He has expanded on that, but always, from my understanding and from talking with him, he feels that that really is the core of his esoteric knowledge. So, you know, you can't go wrong with Alan's work at all, but the source of his thinking is Esoteric Astrology by Dwal Kul.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Francis, for that. Okay, Eva, you go ahead.
I actually started to learn astrology through you, Michael, and through the University of the Seven Rays. So my approach to it was through the esoteric approach. And then later on, I filled in all the little missing pieces with the exoteric. Having been a speaker at many astrology conferences and listening only to the exoteric approach, I literally get angst in my system because they are so off base from everything we understand and know, having combined the two in our approach. One of the things you and I, Michael, discussed is perhaps having a webinar for beginners in astrology. And I know I would be very happy to run that if we have enough interested people. So we could put out an email to the group and see how many people actually want to do this. I've taught this many times to beginners, and it's not all that complicated.
Right. It's a very good idea. And that would be one of the special subjects webinars. And I think also BL has some thoughts about that. BL, you go ahead, because I know you're planning some webinars too. You can speak, BL.
Yes, and of course you can hear my hum now. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say that, number one, Alan Oaken's book is absolutely excellent, and so is Leonie's. Om Union Through Astrology. You're trying to find the note.
I'm trying to find the note of your computer. Go ahead. I know. I've got it. It's the 7th ray note. You go ahead now.
Oh, of course. If you want to find an exoteric astrology book that actually leads a little bit towards, I won't say esoteric, but divine. You know, it's that big pink book, Astrology, the Divine Science by Marcia Moore and Mark Douglas.
And you know, Marcia Moore was right around the Alice Bailey group when the Tibetan was teaching. She was a little younger than all of them, but I have a picture of her with some of the disciples from the Tibetan, and she's sitting there with them. So she was plugged right into that with them. So she has the background as well, and that's probably why it leads to that. And by the way, long ago, maybe 40 years ago, I stopped Marcia Moore in the hallway of an astrology conference, and I said, "What do you think about esoteric astrology?" And she said, "Well, the most esoteric astrologer I know is Dane Rudyard." So, you know, Dane Rudyard has wonderful books. Many of them are philosophical, but some of them, let's see, Francis, maybe you know, there's one that interprets the planets in the houses or planets in the signs. What's it called? Is it Astrological Mandala, something like that? Anyway, maybe that's the Sabian symbols. Anyway, Rudyard's a wonderful read as well. So Marcia Moore, the big pink book, Astrology, the Divine Science, Victor, is a very good one. Maybe, thanks for that, BL. That's a very good one. I enjoyed that book very much, and I thought it was very insightful, very insightful. Okay, who else would like to offer a question, and then we can come back to some of the people who had multiple questions, like I do. Okay, anybody else? Who is unmuted and making all that interesting racket? Anybody? Okay. Anybody would like to offer a question?
Francis has his hand up.
Francis, okay, let me find him. Francis, yeah. You go ahead, Francis. You're off.
It's the astrological houses. Subtitle is The Spectrum of Individual Experience.
Right.
By Dane Rudyard.
You know, Dane Rudyard has Mercury in Pisces, and he's so philosophical, wonderfully philosophical. But I think what happened was a lot of his students got onto him and said, "Look, Dane, can't you write something concrete?" So I think he was forced in a way into being as concrete as he possibly could be in this book, The Astrological Houses, The Spectrum of Human Experience. A very good book, still philosophical because it gives you a larger sense of what the houses mean, esoterically as well as exoterically. Very good book. So, Victor, that's a good one, too. And then we'll try to follow Eva's suggestion, and we'll try to find a way, because we have some very good astrologers here. They're here with us right now, many of them, and we'll try to find a way to offer something for our students that will answer their questions in real time. Francis, did you have more to say? I saw you.
Well, yes, actually. I think it's Alan Leo can't go unmentioned here because he's cited so frequently in Dwalkul's Esoteric Astrology as being, in a sense, the exemplar of the esoteric approach. Of course, he's nothing. Actually, based on that, I got a bunch of Alan's books, and he's not like the Tibetan, but he does have some fascinating esoteric insights.
He does.
So
and
there's
another approach. But of course, if you're looking for the nuts and bolts, what's a house? What's a sign? What's a planet? What's a planet in a house? What's a planet in a sign? Those things, I think Marcia Moore's book will be very good, and of course Alan Leo as well. And Alan Leo wrote a book called Esoteric Astrology. You ran into that, Francis, did you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and he has an amazing thought there that I've never seen anywhere else, that as far as the Earth goes, the signs of the zodiac are 12 loon-like segments of its aura. So that it's like 12 sections of an orange, beginning at the Aries point. These are areas of Davic substance which completely surround the Earth and which are attuned to the different constellations. And I thought that was a very, esoteric way of understanding what the signs of the zodiac were from the angelic Davic point of view. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to ask a question? Or say anything, offer a comment if you wish. Don't be afraid, you're welcome.
Risa makes a note to say that she can't speak, but she can type, so she types her messages. First of all, she said Asheville, North Carolina, School for Esoteric Studies.
That's where it is, Asheville.
That's it.
Mentioning
that for you. Also, she says each one of the esoteric schools are polishing the diamond of their responsibility of teaching the esoteric.
Right, a very beautiful
thought. And that's Risa's comments per typing. Yes, she said she cannot speak.
Very good, Kay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Look, why don't we go back just to keep the ball rolling. Paul Rodriguez, you had another question. Has anybody made a note of Paul's question? I'll see if I find him here. If he's still here. Yeah, there you are. Okay, Paul, you said you had a couple of questions.
Yes, his question is, what will be the...
Go ahead. Uh-oh. Wait, losing it.
Joe, the question that he had posed typing was, what will be the significance of Saturn in Scorpio in the 4th house and Mars in Scorpio in the 4th house?
Oh, wow. Well, the 4th house is the house of your heredity, generally the condition of the physical vehicle, what you have inherited from your family physically and family conditions. And there's a struggle with Saturn and Mars. In one way, they represent the mental body and emotional body. There is a battle with the dweller, and oftentimes with a family dweller, and a need perhaps to rebel against that from conditions that are in the immediate family environment. and set oneself up so one sees the limitations of those things, can face those things, correct those things, and move on. Those are not happy planets in the fourth house, but you know, like Master Morya says, the worse the better. So, and one of my astrologer friends says, okay, the personality loves trines and the soul loves squares. So just because an aspect is rough doesn't mean that it's no good for you spiritually. It's probably very good for you spiritually. Those are the two planets that if you pass their tests, they bring you into hierarchy because they are connected with number 1, Capricorn, that's Saturn, and number 2, Scorpio, that's Mars. Those two planets have everything to do with evil on our planet and everything to do with the hierarchy itself and with good. So you're being tested there, or whoever has that is being tested. You have to face the dweller, fight the dweller, but don't forget Mercury, understanding the dweller. Okay, Paul. Other thoughts? Rose, you had another question. You go ahead with your other question, if I can find you. Oh, maybe not. Yes, there you are. Okay. I'm trying to unmute you. Why can't I unmute Rose? Can anyone unmute Rose? I'm not having success. So maybe you can type something. Joe or Kay or anybody, can you unmute Rose Bates?
I just unmuted her.
It says I'm unmuted now.
Okay, you're unmuted. Or not, you're okay. Anyway, I hear you. So you go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I have a quick question and then maybe a little bit of a longer question. Maybe I'll just divide them into the long one first. I don't know which.
All right, whichever.
The quick question would be, hopefully it's quick. I don't know. DK, there's a quote from DK somewhere. There's a quote from DK somewhere where he says that the plan as unfolded upon Earth, which is a very significant statement, plan and then Earth, is a part of a dual expression of purpose.
Of what
and
purpose?
Only as a
dual expression
yes.
of purpose. Okay.
The plan as unfolded upon the Earth is a part of a dual expression of purpose, and only as another non-sacred planet reaches its consummation can the whole plan for the Earth be realized.
Okay.
And the question I'm asking is, do we know which this other non-sacred planet is?
I'll just bet it's Mars. Because Mars is causing so much difficulty on our Earth. It's less sacred than the Earth because the Earth is already sacred internally. Mars represents the astral body, and Mars is the target planet for those who will leave the Earth after the Judgment Day in the 5th round. So 2/5 will be transported first interiorly and then probably to the planet Mars for re-education, as it were. And when Mars reaches a higher degree of sacredness, it will indicate that we on Earth are overcoming our astral problem. So the purpose is really operating in 2 phases, you might say. One before the Judgment Day and one after the Judgment Day. Of course, I'd have to see the whole context, and I don't have time to see that right now. But let's just say everything up to the Judgment Day is full of conflict, and that's millions of years ahead. After the Judgment Day, Mars takes its own and perhaps is going to become more elevated. The Earth will become a sacred planet, and the Earth will have on it 3/5 of humanity, all of whom are on the path, whether at the stage of aspirant or the 6th initiation. So I think that Mars is your planet there. When you look at it, Mars is the astral body, Earth the physical body, and Venus the mental body in one of these triangles. From another point of view, there's a great third ray being who has Saturn as the mental body, Mars as the astral body, and Earth as the physical body. That's yet another triangle. And there's another one involving Mercury, Venus, and the Earth. But it can't be Mercury because Mercury is the sacred planet I'm pretty sure it's Mars, because Mars is intimately involved with our planet. Okay, now I hope the next one's quick too, because you go ahead, Rose.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry for the background noise. The other one is about another quote from DK. It says, the seven spirits before the throne, the seven planetary logi. So first off, like, what is this throne? I'm assuming that's like the solar logos. The seven planetary logi, is this related to the seven ray lords? Are they interchangeable terms? The seven ray lords, the seven...
I've got to send you this compilation, because Zach Rymil has produced this compilation. It's all on... Whoa. Seven spirits. Okay, look, there are various thrones. So there are seven spirits in Shambhala before the throne of our planetary logos, and they are attuned to the planetary logi themselves, who are seven spirits before the throne of the solar logos. Now, look, it says our Earth is one of them, but that's a little difficult because they really should all be sacred planets. That has to be worked out perhaps through the science of triangles, because sometimes these spirits have associated with them other non-sacred planets who are also before the throne in that way. Then there are the seven solar systems, of which ours is one. Now, you know, if you go to the Esoteric Astrology book here, right here on page 50, I guess it is, something like that. Yes, you see right down here, he's talking about where various types of energies come from, and here we go, right down here, we have magnetic energy coming from the seven solar systems. These seven solar systems are going to be before the throne of the cosmic logos. And then, if you turn to page, you see, because it's just a cosmic structure we're talking about here. If you turn to page, I think it's 293, something like that. Maybe it is. Yes, here it is. Look here. So it gives you a real nice setup of sevens, okay? We've got seven planetary chains, and those may, after all, be related to the seven spirits. Then we have seven planetary schemes, and they're before the throne of the solar logos. Then we have seven solar systems, and they're before the throne of the cosmic logos. And then we have ultimately seven constellations. Well, I shouldn't say ultimately, because it goes on and on, but seven constellations before the throne of our local one about whom naught may be said. So always what you have here, Rose, is, if I can find this, the structure. Here it is. You've got the 1, the 3, and the 7. And this structure here, found on page, I think, 1238 of A Treatise on Cosmic Fire, gives you the idea of the spirits before the throne. But for every 7, there's a 3, because the Kabbalah holds good. You've got the major triangle consisting of the Kether, the Chokhmah, and the Binah, and then the 7 Sephiroth. So you've got the 1 great Lord, the 3 who are most intimate, and the 7 who are on the next rung. So just because there's 7 doesn't mean there's not 3 as well. So this setup is what you want to study on every level. Any further questions on that? Of course, you know, it's a huge question, so how can one really, you know, one just gives an indication. Any other questions on that? Okay, I'm trying to unmute you, but I can't. Okay, we'll, you know, we have to work out for these webinars, we have to work out our headphones, the place where we do this stuff, so it should be quiet, and, you know, so we don't get the extra noise. Then maybe I can unmute you all at once and we can have a conversation. But right now it's difficult to do. Okay, are there other? Okay, BL, you have a thought here? Go ahead, BL. BL on the key of B. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, yes, I just wanted to say for the students that this solar and planetary hierarchies chart and the plane chart that you showed earlier when you were describing the atmic
Yes.
percentages and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are still available on the 7-Ray website as posters, right?
Yeah, well, I hope so. I don't know everything about what's going on there, but we can talk to our secretary, Eva, and she can let us know. Hopefully they are. Hopefully they are. And this actually, you see, let me give credit where credit is due. All these colored versions of the charts were done by Keith Bailey for the Masonic organism. But okay, he's letting us use those. They're DK's charts, but he's filled in other significant colors on these things to give us a better idea of the connections. So I have them. I think they're available maybe on our website in places, perhaps.
Yeah, I think they're actually available as posters that were done by Simply Sacred.
Yes, Victoria.
Which I think wasn't
group.
Victoria,
Mm-hmm.
right?
She was involved.
And I think the links to that were on the 7-Ray.
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's fine. And
website.
Yes, go there and find that. That would be wonderful. By the way, I want to give a little plug. I hope as many of you as can attend will attend the University of the Seven Rays and 7-Ray Institute Conference. It's our 27th conference here in Mesa, Phoenix, Arizona. And our theme is on the New World Religion, you know, in envisioning an ideal universal spirituality and resurrecting the soul of humanity. We're going to have wonderful speakers, and it's a great way to get into the flow. And, okay, if you can't come in person, we're also going to try to broadcast this via webinars. And it's good. It's not quite the same as being there, but I think we're getting better at doing that. So, you know, tune in at that time as well. Okay, other questions? Other questions? Of course, we don't have to go on forever here.
So Victor was asking the correct spelling for Marsha Moore.
Is it Marcia Moore, isn't it? M-A-R-C-I-A? I think
Yes,
it is,
yes.
yes, Marcia. Let me...
That's it, M-A-R-C-I-A.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's it. M-A-R-C-I-A, M-O-R-E. She was a Gemini person with Cancer rising. I've never heard anybody talk faster than she. A very pretty woman, really, and her eyes were always blinking, and she was like super animated and very good astrologer, I think. So the book's been around for a while, but I think, Victor, it's a good one. It's a good one. I think you'll enjoy it. All we have to do is get a hold of it, and I'm sure these days one can do that, even if electronically. Yeah, by the way, I want to thank the staff for fielding these questions and things that I just don't see, so thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Feel free. This is your opportunity. Anybody? Okay, so what are we doing here with these questions? See, look, the ageless... okay, Rose, you have another one? Okay. I can't...
Sheila also has her hand up.
Who does? Who?
Sheila.
Sheila. Okay. Sheila. Yeah, maybe I can get to Sheila. I can't hear... and Fred does also as well. Okay, Sheila, you go ahead because you haven't spoken yet, but where is Sheila? Here is Sheila. I've got her.
Here.
Very good, Sheila. There you are. Go ahead, Sheila, please.
Michael, as someone who, can you hear me?
Yes, I surely can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As someone who follows world events, I wonder if you could help put some perspective around some of the most recent things and put them within the context of what it means for the reappearance of the Christ.
Well, you know, so many things are happening. I mean, what specifically do you mean? You don't mean the meteors, do you? All the and you know, these sort of geophysical events that are occurring, the asteroids and so forth. You mean more social things that are happening? Specifically, what do you have in mind? Because we have a rebellion going on. You know, DK would say it's a sign that the will aspect is rising. But when you have Uranus in the sign Aries, you do get revolutions, and you do get a protest against selfishness. That's one of the things that is rising. And there's another thing that's happening because the sixth ray is getting ready to exit within the next 100 years. and the Pisces influence entirely by the end of this century. And I think we're seeing a final recrudescence of the sixth ray, which is standing opposed to the energies which will bring in the reappearance of the Christ. I think they're very dangerous energies, but there's so many millions and millions and millions of sixth ray souls that they need some final emphasis. And I think you're having a tremendous conflict now with the progressive energies, which are supported by so many wonderful servers all over the world who have been strengthened by the new group of world servers, and these recrudescent sixth ray energies which are becoming, well, in a nuclear age, very threatening. So the balance has to be achieved. I think we're going through the period of kind of a tribulation before the reappearance of the Christ, a period of testing. Now, it is said that when the Christ reappears, it will be the sign that humanity, or a certain portion of it, has taken the first initiation. Before the first initiation, you have so much going on with Pluto and with Vulcan. Those are planets on the first ray. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of lower energies out of control. Some people even say there's hypnotic mind control going on under Pluto, and that people are responding to psychic directives and doing all kinds of things. I just want to be general about it and say only this, that we're in the Pluto-Vulcan stage before the first initiation. And if I go over here to Esoteric Astrology, page 71 or so, at the first initiation, the disciple has to contend with the crystallizing and destroying forces of Vulcan and Pluto. The influence of Vulcan reaches to the very depths of his nature, while Pluto drags to the surface and destroys all that hinders in these lower regions. I'll also say there's a lot going on about the abuse of women, and Master Morya tells us women are bringing in the new age. There's a huge battle going on between Mars and Venus on our planet at the moment. Venus pulling towards the soul and Mars pulling towards the past and desire and the lower aspects of the astral body. This has to be solved as well in preparation for the reappearance of the Christ. The church has to clean house. It's been doing that. There has to be economic sharing. The outrage is palpable. It's everywhere. And a measure of peace has to be restored. Those three factors, and that's what you see working out. That's the best at the moment. I think that I can respond to that. Sheila, was there anything else on that?
No, thanks.
Oh, okay. It's a big, it's a big question, like, what's happening? Look out there. What does it mean? It's all about the externalization. It's all about house cleaning. Master Jesus has a Syrian body, apparently. He lives in Syria, and he travels a lot, so they say, look what's going on in Syria. The Pope has just resigned. What's this all about? Is this another attempt at overshadowing by the Master Jesus? What's going on? So we have to look at it in those. It's very complex, but basically it's about the reappearance of the Christ and the externalization of the hierarchy. Okay.
Fred has his hand up.
Who does? I'm sorry. Fred. Okay, Fred, please go ahead. But first I have... Go ahead, Fred. Yes. Your other questions.
My question is about integration. Now, this specific integration between the astral and the mental vehicles, can you give some concrete examples of what this might appear as displayed?
Well, the mind is in control, and you don't just do what you feel like doing. You do what you know is right. You know how integration is? Oh, I feel like doing something, but I just can't get my body going. Oh, I know I ought to do this, but I don't feel like it, and I don't have the energy. See, these are all the different aspects of the personality not coordinated. But when the astral body is no longer wayward, no longer has its own horizontal kinds of desires which lead away from what the mind under the soul influence knows is correct, then the integration is occurring. Now you can look very much at what Mars and Saturn are doing in the chart. That's one way of doing it, because Mars is the astral body and Saturn is the mind, the lower mind. Of course, so is Mercury and so forth. Let's just say you have Mars opposed Mercury. Mars is all of these passional aspects, and Mercury is the light and illumination and knows what's right. As long as they are pulling in opposite directions, and as long as your desires are not yet aspiration, then the astral body will not line up with the directives of the mind or the common sense. So the way to do this is make sure we have the mind held steady in the light, that our emotions are tranquilized to a degree, and that aspiration directs that emotional power towards fulfilling the mental directives inspired by the soul, and then get the body to do it. That's what we call integration. The vital body, the aspiring astral vehicle, the focused mind, which is directed by the light of the soul. That's going to be integration. And you just look at your own life, all of us, and we can just see where we're out of alignment. And DK says it's mostly the astral body that's out of alignment, which, you know, and it comes to this old saying, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And you can apply that to various levels of your energy system. Anything
Excellent description.
Okay, Fred.
Thank you.
You bet, Fred. Go ahead, Francis, you have a thought.
And in the meantime, act as if it was true.
Good point. Good point. The act as if method really, it really works, you know. The imagination really works. Yeah, go ahead, Francis. Or is your hand going up there again? Maybe not.
No, that was
Okay.
that's my point.
It's just yeah. Go ahead.
That, you know, until you're mentally polarized, you imagine what mental polarization is, and you act as if to the, you know, extent of your ability to do that.
Exactly. And look, I wanted to differentiate here between mental focus and mental polarization. You know what I'm going to say here. A lot of us can have a pretty good mind. We can be mentally focused. We can bring our mind into quite a bit of our decision making and so forth, but we're not mentally polarized technically until the midway point between the second and third initiation. And what I think that really means is that the light of the soul has such power by that time, by the middle point between the second and third, that you will not be deviating from the higher path, because you will make those decisions in the desert concerning the world, the flesh, and the devil, and you will have won every one of those decisions, and the light of the higher mind will now be in your mind, and you will be mentally polarized in the higher sense, not just mentally focused. You know, there's a lot of people that aren't even, well, they're not even aspirants, and they're mentally focused. So we have to discriminate between those things. Okay? Well, we're getting there. We're getting almost to the, because I've kind of scheduled this for an hour and a half or so. Can anyone unmute Rose, because she has her hand up and I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Well, I'll tell you what, friends. Are you?
Yes, my question.
Yes, go ahead, Rose. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier some type of compilation about the seven spirits that you were showing on the webinar screen.
Yeah. It's probably K, isn't that?
Yeah, I was wondering where I could get a copy of that.
K, isn't that in our Ageless Wisdom compilations by Zach? You know, the one on the seven spirits? See, I tell you what, Rose, if you have not joined the Ageless Wisdom compilations, I think that kind of stuff is right there.
It could be.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look, and I'll tell you what, if it's not...
Well, there's some 400 compilations on the site at the moment.
Okay, 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 okay.
That could be there.
So I think it would be there, and I think see, unfortunately I've marked up all of mine, but if you just write to Victoria, suppose it's not on the site, Ageless Wisdom Compilations, just write to Victoria, and she's connected with Zach, and she'll get it to you right away. And meanwhile, Kay, if it's not on our site, let's try to get it on our site. But I have a feeling that it is on our site. I think so.
Yes, it is. Yes,
very
it is.
good. Very good, Rose.
You just pulled up the whole of the
you
list.
just go there. You just go there, and you pull it right off.
The master list shows it's there.
Yeah, go there. Okay. Well, look, friends. Okay, is there any of the faculty members would you like to say anything at this point? Because
webinar. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Eva. And Eva is coordinating the student webinar program. She's working with Jocelyn, and she's working with Francis and a number of others of the faculty members. We're going to be doing our best, everybody, to get you your level-targeted webinars, so that for the classes that you are now taking, you'll be with a group of fellow students who are taking the same classes, and you can deal with them one after another. We'll look for our very first one, I don't know, coming up, I hope, in just a couple of weeks. That would be my hope. But I'll check it out with all the faculty members who will be responsible for that. Okay, are there any concluding remarks that anybody would like to offer? You are welcome.
Yeah, Natasha writes a note.
Yes, Natasha,
saying,
yes.
regarding the education system,
yes,
I understood Morya Federation University is something like a producing of teachers for esoteric science. As all science, also esoteric, have to be used practically for people who understand it. Is this in your future plan to build groups, for example, like for healing,
yes,
which will be able to start to build or implant esoteric health into the modern medical system?
Well, it's
necessary that people start to think in it.
Yeah, but of course you could answer that as well as anybody, Kay, because you are coordinating the esoteric healing faculty group there. There's several of you. Look, the main answer is yes, right?
Yes, we have. Joe is coordinating that at the moment. But yes, we do have a radiatory healing group within the Morya faculty who take on people who are going through great crises, and we do the recommended radiatory healing that DK recommends on Esoteric Healing, page 103. The format that he sets out is what we use. So that is being used, but
well, look,
as it infiltrates into the medical system, the medical profession is seeing some results from very ill patients who are suddenly getting better.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a big step to penetrate into all of the various aspects of society that the seed groups are connected to. However, it depends on what kind of students we have and what their interests are. Our work on the seed groups, Sam is much involved with that. We are offering education on all the seed groups, and depending on the number of students we have, their particular areas of interest, so will be the further development of these seed groups. Look, DK said this is a 275-year project. When he started it, 275 years. And that means that it more or less started around the year 1925. It's going to go all the way through the 21st century, through the 22nd century, and then it will see its fruition. I think we have to give it that long before society will really be penetrated by the strength of these groups. We are not targeting science per se. We're much more involved with psychology, with glamour busting, you might say, with esoteric healing, with the New World Religion, a lot of stuff on the soft line rays. So far, the students that come to us are not so involved in the economics area, in the science area, but that is coming. It just depends on how the Morya Federation grows. So I cannot predict that. I can only say we are open to that, depending on who comes to us and what we can organize. And it certainly has to go on for some decades if what you are talking about, Natasha, is going to be a realized fact. Okay, friends, I think we are at the point. If there's anything that anybody wants to say as a final word, a brief final word, then you are welcome to say so. If I unmuted you all at once, we would have a terrible noise right now. I just know that to be the case because so many of you don't have the headphones, you know, and this is your first time with the computer on this kind of thing, so it would just be a huge racket. But if anybody wants to raise their hand to say one final thing, you are welcome to do so. And if not, then, friends, what we will do is have a final, let's see if I can find this. Let's just do the new group of world servers mantra, okay? And I'll just, may the power of the one life. There's only one of them, so we'll find it. Here it is. Right here in the middle of the screen. Let's put yourself on mute, and then let's say that together. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all true servers. May the love of the one soul characterize the lives of all who seek to aid the great ones. May we fulfill our part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. Friends, thank you very much for attending. Now, what we'll try to do here is get the webinar of this event, the video of it. We'll try to get it up, a link, so that you can review it if you wish, and so that some people who did not come will be able to use it. It is my hope, it's a new program, I don't know yet, but it's, I hope that every month we can do this, and the other webinars will be occurring also in addition to this one. And also special subject webinars, as was being discussed by Eva and others. We will be offering those too when they can be offered. So meanwhile, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to make a horrible noise here, okay? But I just want you to have the opportunity to say goodbye, if you wish. So You're all unmuted. You're all unmuted. Okay. Okay. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Wonderful experience.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, it wasn't that bad, Michael.
Hey, it went okay, huh? Okay. I'll preserve it, and we'll see if I can copy it. Now, no organizers sign out yet. You just hold on for a minute, okay? Okay, we'll talk to you soon.